The movie story begins in the year 2014-8. This was the time when there was nothing to live on Earth, and all the resources that were left, to get them the countries were fighting with each other. In the midst of this, we see Rick's family, and they were brought to a splendid mansion. The whole family was very happy to come here. In Rick's family, his wife Abby and his son were there. Then they learned that there are other 13 such families there. Those who were brought here will be researched and experiments will be done. For this, the whole team of scientists was present here. The next morning, we see the professor head of this project, who says that in the next 10 years everything will be finished on Earth. Nothing will be left. And then humans will not be able to live on Earth. At that time, we have only one way, and that is Titan. Because after living on Earth, there is another source, which is a very big moon. But at this time, it is not possible for humans to live there. There is a rain of methane gas, and nitrogen gas is present in the air. There is also a lot of cold there, and if we want humans to live there, then we will have to make some changes in the bodies of humans. That's why we have families here. They are chosen among 5,000 people. Rick was also here, which we saw at the beginning of the story. Rick says that we have all joined it by our own will. Then the doctor takes him with him and injects him. He is told that in a week he will be given a lot of injections, which will change his body, and then his body will be able to get more nitrogen than oxygen. When Rick had a party at home, his wife, whose name was Abby, she drank a lot, which makes her sick. When Rick was going with his wife, then Rick's wife Abby says that he had a very high fever. After a few days, all the families were brought to the pool of water for an experiment, and it is seen that who can live in the water without breathing for so long. But one by one everyone came out. But Rick and a girl sit in the water for 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, the girl's breath also began to decrease and she comes out of the water. But Rick was still in the water. Gradually his heartbeat was also decreasing. Professor Head was looking at his heart rate while staying outside. Before anything happens, Rick himself comes out. Everyone claps for him because he spent the most time in the water. After a few days, it is shown to us that Rick was brought for a surgery. The day his surgery is done, that night he was not on his bed. When his wife Abby sees this, then he sat in the kitchen. He was putting ice on his body. He was feeling very hot. After this, Abby brings him more ice. He tells Abby that he is not feeling cold at all. It means that the people who were being prepared to be sent to Titan, Rick was also having the same effect, that there was a lot of cold on Titan. And there was a need for such a body who does not feel cold at all. But still they had the biggest confrontation of methane gas and nitrogen. All of them are told to swim in the water with methane gas. They are also given a special kind of mask due to which nitrogen is decreased. They wear that mask and run a lot. Actually, they were being prepared for Titan. Many days pass like this. One day Rick was in the bathroom. He sees that he was having hair fall. It meant that his hair was falling a lot. There was another boy here. All this was happening to him also. Everyone understood that whatever is happening to them is the result of those medicines and experiments which were being done to send them to Titan. At that time, a girl dies here. Everyone was very worried to see that girl die. Everyone is scared because they were given the same medicines. It meant that their life also in danger. At night, when everyone was gathered at Rick's house and were talking about all this, a friend of his gets very angry and attacks his wife. Actually, since he was being experimented on, this was happening to him. Everyone gets worried to see this. The next morning, the doctor comes to Rick's house. She tells them that the girl who died was actually sick. She had a disease before, that's why she died, not because of any experiment. But Rick knew that something was wrong. That night, he vomits, in which blood was coming out. His wife Abby takes his blood sample because Abby was also a doctor. The next day Rick is shown. He was in the water. His skin was also starting to come off. He is very scared of this. On the other hand, Abby takes his blood sample and goes to the lab. When she tests it, she finds out that a lot of chemicals have been added to the Rick's body, about which it was not told before. Abby talks about all this to the head of the project professor, but he does not tell her anything. Now Rick's eyes are operation on so that he can see in the dark. When Rick comes back home, his eyes started bleeding and he is taken to the hospital again. Abby tries to talk to the professor again, but he does not answer her and goes away. When Abby comes home, she sees that the man who was angry before, now he was even much angry. He also killed his wife. That's why the military people came to take him. Now Abby was feeling that a lot of things have been hidden from her. After taking Rick's card, she goes to the same place where all the files were kept, on which experiments were being done. When she checks there, she finds out the girl who died, about whom it was told that she died of some disease, but actually she died because of these experiments. On the other hand, Abby looks at the professor who was talking to the people of NASA. He was accusing them that they have done such things to humans, which are completely wrong. They have to stop everything soon. They are going to be punished because a case has been filed against them. The next day, the professor head goes to the Rick's house. He tells him and Abby that they did all experiments so that they can send people to Titan. He says, I don't even know what will be the result of this. Everyone's DNA is different. I don't know what will be the effect of medicines on everyone's body. But Rick is such a person that his body can tolerate all these things. And Rick, there are different changes happening inside you. He says that when all the experiments will be completed, on whom the experiments are being done, their body will turn into a Titan creature and they will be called Homo Titan. But we don't know who will be like because everyone's DNA is different. After hearing all this, Rick and Abby were very worried. But now Rick had come a long way. He had another eye surgery for which he could now see in the dark. Now he could sit in the water and feel things. After this, all the people who had been experimented on, they all die. Only Rick and his friends survive. When Rick's wife Abby comes to see him in the lab, she is surprised to see him because Rick had completely changed. He had no hairs on his head and neither did he have ears. When Rick sees Abby and his son, he recognizes them. But now he could not talk to them because when his body had changed, now he could only speak in low frequency, that means in a very low voice, a voice that a normal person cannot hear. After this, Rick is sent home. At night, Rick's friend comes to Rick's house, who had blood on his hand. She also comes in anger and kills her husband. When the military comes to know about this, they come to take Rick and his friend because now they were dangerous for everyone. The military had killed Rick's friend, but Rick kills everyone with his strength and runs away to saving his life. Abby also follows Rick. Rick still loved Abby a lot. When Rick held Abby's hand, he started to read her mind, which was his new power. Yes, now Rick could read someone's mind. Then the military helicopter had come. He surrendered himself to them at Abby's behest. Rick was brought back to the lab. Their professor tells Abby that you have to give Rick an injection. As soon as you inject it into Rick, he will forget about his old life. And this is good for Rick because now we are going to send him to Titan. When Abby goes to him, she gives him an injection. Although Rick was refusing because he did not want to forget his old memories. As soon as Abby does this, she takes her friend and goes with her son. After her departure, Rick attacks all the soldiers and comes back home after killing them. Actually, Abby did not apply the injection to his body so that he could not be sent to the Titan. Now Rick comes back home and is very happy to meet his wife and son. But then the people of military had come there. They also had Professor with them. Professor said that Rick will have to go with us. We are going to send him to Titan because now he can never become human and neither can he live on Earth. If he wants to stay alive, he will have to go to Titan. Abby also understood this. She says to Rick that maybe it's time for you to go. Rick was sent to Titan. It is shown that after some time of this incident, now his lab was taken care of by Rick's wife Abby and her friend. She was doing research on new experiments so that humans could be sent to Titan. One night, Abby's son was playing outside. He calls his mom and says, "Look, the sky is so clear, the weather is so nice." That's when we see Titan far away, where Rick was standing alone. After a while, he starts flying on a lake. That means he was now living in this new world. He was enjoying all this, and with this, the story ends.